them to you. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
You're back.
The starters are presented by Chick-fil-A. All Chick-fil-A locations in Alabama supports Alabama softball. Here's the Chick-fil-A starting lineup for the 19th ranked Auburn Tigers, who enter today's game with an overall record of 34-13, 10-7 in SEC play following the doubleheader split with Alabama yesterday. Nelia Peralta, the shortstop, will lead things off. Aubrey Garcia will catch and bat second. Lindsey Garcia, the left fielder, batting third. Batting fourth, the first baseman, Bree Ellis. Denver Bryant, the third baseman, will bat fifth. KK McCrary, the designated player, bats sixth. Isis Tresvik, the right fielder, bats seventh. Batting eighth is Michaela Packer, the center fielder, and batting ninth, the second baseman, Carly McCondashi. And they'll face in the circle for the Alabama Crimson Tide, the right-handed graduate from Grayson, Kentucky, the People's Queen, Montana Fouts. Fouts on the year with a 1.48 ERA and 18-7 record. Her 33rd appearance and 23rd start of the year. She has 17 complete games. She's pitched 165 in the third innings, 92 hits, 44 runs, 35 earned, 32 walks. Entered the weekend leading the NCAA now with 251 strikeouts on the season. Opponents batting 158 against Fouts on the year. So I bring my broadcast partner, Gray Robertson.
Morning
for what is probably for both these teams the most important game of the regular season.
There is so much on the line here. I mean, you look at the postseason ramifications, top 4 seed in the SEC tournament, very much in play for both teams. Somebody's getting the upper hand today. Alabama trying to secure a top 16 spot with a good finish. They're still in the mix to be a top 8. Auburn is trying to work in to that hosting conversation. You could also look at the pitcher of the year race, Maddie Pinta versus Montana Fouts. Probably the top 2, considering Ashley Rogers is not quite there innings-wise. Today could go a long way in deciding that award. But mostly, it's a rivalry. It's a rubber match between two teams who don't like each other. And I'm going to be honest, Tom, in the 7 years we've been doing this, there are a few games that I have wanted more than today. I'm fired up, this crowd is fired up, and this team was together and confident this morning. And no better person to have leading you into battle than Montana Fouts in the circle.
And Montana got the complete game victory yesterday as we celebrated Montana Fouts Day.
Yeah, and you know what? She didn't really have the strikeouts going, nor did she really have her drop. But the up stuff and the curve were good enough. She'll need to use that drop a little more today.
Nelia Peralta steps in, and here comes the first pitch from Montana Fouts. It's a called strike on the outside corner, and we are underway. Defensively for the Crimson Tide, Johnson in left, Hensley in center, Pruitt in right, Broadfoot at third, Cahalan at short, Dowling at second, Essman at first, and Shipman catching. As we talked with Alabama head coach Batcher Murphy, Ashley Prangy not available today. The 0-1 pitch, swung on and missed. No balls and 2 strikes now on Peralta, who enters today's game with a .341 average, 42 of 123, 34 runs scored, 6 doubles, 2 triples, 8 homers, and 20 runs driven in.
4 of 6 in the series.
The 0-2, rise ball high, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And Tom, you read that defensive alignment. That defense without Ashley Prangy struggled a bit in game 2. 3 errors in a pitcher's duel like this with Fouts versus Pinta. It could come down to 1 mistake. Alabama cannot make that mistake in the field.
1-2 pitch is in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Peralta. Umpires for today's ball game, Chris Neighbors is behind home plate with Tom Meyer at first and Philip Frills, the third base umpire. 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to Broadfoot. She has it on the second hop. The throw is in time to first, and there's 1 away.
Well, we talked about it before game 2. Broadfoot was going to get a lot of balls because that's how it works. And after a little miscue on the very first hit in game 2, she was really sharp over at the hot corner, her natural position from North Alabama. She took that on the second hop, and it was a little wonky, but a good job by Broadfoot getting in front of it and making the play to get Peralta.
So 1 out now for Aubrey Linsby. Right-handed catcher, first pitch. Popped up foul back behind us. No balls and 1 strike. The first inning is presented by Barkley GMC of Tuscaloosa for over 42 years. Barkley makes it easy. Online at barkleygmc.com. Linsby batting .275, 19 of 69, 8 runs scored, 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 9 runs driven in.
A little surprised she's still in the 2 spot today.
The 0-1 a little bit low, 1-1.
0 for 5 in the series with a walk and 2 Ks, and you pair that with Peralta, who coming in was hitting .667 this weekend. Thought they might move somebody who's had a little bit more production up in the order to back her up, but sticking with Lisenby in the 2 spot.
The 1-1. And that's a fly ball to right field, but underneath it and making the catch in front of the warning track is Pruitt for out number 2. Well hit ball, but no trouble for Pruitt. And there's 2 gone now for the left fielder, Lindsey Garcia. Garcia, the right-handed senior, batting .289, 35 of 121, 27 runs scored, 8 doubles, a triple, 9 homers, and 35 runs driven in. First pitch. Hard hit ball to deep left. Ranging back and making the catch up against the wall is Jenna Johnson for out number 3. And Alabama gets the Tigers 1-2-3 in the top of the first inning.
And I love that Jenna Johnson's about to lead off. Do you see how fired up she is? Oh, man. Get out of here. Buckle up, Tom. This is going to be a heck of a Sunday.
We head to the bottom of the first inning. Auburn nothing, Alabama coming to bat here in the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Move to the home half of the first inning. No score between Auburn and Alabama. And here is a Chick-fil-A starting lineup for the 13th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. The starters are presented by Chick-fil-A. All Chick-fil-A locations in Alabama support Alabama softball. Alabama, an identical record to Auburn, 34-14 overall, 10-7 in SEC play following yesterday's doubleheader split. The left fielder, Jenna Johnson, will lead things off. Kinley Cahalan, shortstop, bats second. Catching, batting third is Allie Shipman. Bailey Dowling, the second baseman, bats fourth. Batting fifth, Emma Broadfoot, the third baseman. Right fielder, Larissa Pruitt, bats sixth. Lauren Essman, the first baseman, batting seventh. Marley Giles, the designated player, batting eighth. And Faith Hensley, the center fielder, will bat ninth. They'll face in the circle for Auburn, the right-handed junior from Chesapeake City, Maryland, Maddie Pinta. Pinta on the year with a 1.03 ERA and a 20-5 record, making her 33rd appearance, 27th start. She has 11 complete games on the season, 163 innings pitched. First pitch to Jenna Johnson. Pulls back the bunt, takes a called strike. 84 hits, 29 runs, 24 have been earned. She's walked 30, struck out 234. Opponents batting 149 against Pinta on the year, and she got the win in Game 2 yesterday.
Yeah, it was a pretty good performance. I thought Alabama did a nice job at times, but when she started to work her changeup better, that was when Alabama got into trouble.
Low and inside, 1-1.
And Pinta went complete. 3 hits, 1 run, it was earned. 1 walk and 7 Ks. But Patrick Murphy did point out all 7 strikeouts were by different people. Nobody had multiple, which is a good sign. I mean, obviously you don't want to strike out, but that doesn't say, hey, this person was completely fooled.
The 1-1. Johnson swings and misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Defensively for the Tigers, Garcia in left, Packer in center, Tresvik in right, Bryan at third, Peralta at short, McConaughey at second, Ellis at first, and Lisenby the catcher. Jenna Johnson batting .269, 29 of 108, 11 runs scored, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 20 runs driven in.
1 for 5 in the series.
1-2 is fouled back. Do it again, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The first inning is presented by Barclay GMC of Tuscaloosa. For over 42 years, Barclay makes it easy. Online at barclaygmc.com.
And I'll complete the process a little bit on Jenna's series line. That one is a double. Does have a walk, a couple runs scored as well. And with Prangy out, tasked to do what she did for most of last year. That's sit him a tough spot of this order.
1-2. Johnson swings and misses at strike 3, and there's one away.
Like I said, buckle up. Pinta, just straight heat. Looks like a curveball on the outer half. And Johnson just a little bit late on that swing. She'll need to make that adjustment next time up.
That will bring up Kinley Cahalan, left-handed hitting. First pitch. It is a strike. Looked pretty high. That's why you hear the murmurs from the crowd. Cahalan batting .322, 47 and 146, 34 runs scored, 14 doubles, 6 homers, and 25 runs driven in. The 0-1, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike on Cahalan.
Yeah, drove in the lone run in that loss in game 2. 2 for 6 with that RBI and a double here in the series. Starting to get back into rhythm, it appears, based on what we've seen, because even some of her outs all day yesterday were pretty loud.
1-1, waved at and missed. Ball and 2 strikes. Alabama leads the all-time series 52-23 over Auburn after yesterday's doubleheader split. The Tide holds a 21-6 advantage over the Tigers here at Rhoads Stadium. One-two, swing and a miss, strike 3 as Cahalan went after a rise, and back-to-back strikeouts start things off for the Tide here in the bottom of the first.
Alabama a little bit late again. Cahalan thought that was going to stay a little flatter, but Pinta doing a good job tunneling that rise after throwing that fastball in the outer half. That's a really good pitch, and again, like I said, buckle up. These are 2 of the best pitchers in the SEC.
As Allie Shipman steps in, first pitch. Swung on a miss for strike 1. Shipman batting .340, 48 and 141, 28 runs scored, 15 doubles, a triple, 4 homers, and 28 runs driven in.
3 for 6 this weekend, 3 RBIs, a homer, a double, couple runs scored. 3 for 3 in game 1, 0 for 3 against Pinta.
That one misses, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And with Maddie Pinta, we talked about it. It's that high velocity and the way that she can mix in her changeup and her off-speed drop.
1-1 pitch is back to Pinta, and she makes the stop on the first hop. The throw is in time to get Shipman, and that'll do it for Alabama here in the bottom of the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left. We played an inning, no score between the Tide and the Tigers here in the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. The second inning is presented by Yellowhammer Brewing Company, brewed locally in Alabama and served to fans across the Southeast. We move to the top of the second. No score between Alabama and Auburn. Due up for the Tigers here in the second. It'll be Ellis, Bryant, and McCrary. 4-5-6 against Montana Fouts in the circle. Ellis to lead things off. The right-handed hitting first baseman. Batting .298, 37 of 124, 20 runs scored, 8 doubles, 12 homers, and 37 runs driven in. For the reigning SEC Freshman of the Year.
Yeah, and only 1 hit this weekend, but that was a solo home run, 1 for 5. With that bomb, a walk, couple runs scored. We talked about it, reigning SEC Freshman of the Year, second team all-conference last season. and one of 2 for the Tigers that was on the preseason All-SEC list. Of course, the other, Maddie Pinta.
She steps in here. Here comes the first pitch from Fouts. Fouled back. 4 strike 1. Today's weather report brought to you by the Bryant Museum. Visit the new Alabama softball exhibit at the Bryant Museum this season, located on the UA campus just across from Coleman Coliseum. Open every day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. except Mondays. Access online at bryantmuseum.com. 63 degrees at first pitch under partly cloudy skies. The 0-1, low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wind blowing in 8 to 10 miles an hour.
And Tom, I just want to make sure again we highlight the crowd.
Yes.
Today, this whole weekend, considering time changes for 2 of the 3 games at some point.
1-1, swung on a miss on a rise ball, 1-2.
You know, keep in mind, this game right now was supposed to be at, I believe, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. It's 4 hours earlier, and nobody missed it.
No. Jam-packed crowd here at the Rhoads house, providing a lot of energy. 1-2 to Ellis. Holds off the rise ball there, 2-2. Dimensions here at the Rhoads house, 200 down the lines, 220 to straightaway center field, 6-foot wall all the way around in the outfield. Beyond that, a full brick yard. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, got it with a rise. There's 1 down. That's the first strikeout of the day by Fouts. That Bama strikeout brought to you by Fast Signs. Fast Signs in Tuscaloosa is more than fast and more than signs. Request a free quote from Fast Signs for all your business visibility needs. Fast Signs in Tuscaloosa is a proud supporter of Crimson Tide softball.
Yeah, and something else, Tom, we're going to talk about the strikeout race between Fouts and Pinta, 2 of the top 3 in the country in that category.
First pitch to Denver Bryant, fouled back for strike 1. Bryant batting .293, 24 of 82 with 16 runs scored, a triple, 5 homers, and 14 runs driven in.
2 of those 5 homers have come this weekend, 2 for 5, 4 ribbies, 2 bombs, a K, 2 runs scored. Certainly has not endeared herself to the Alabama crowd, though, in this series.
The 0-1. And that's a ground ball to third. Broadfoot is there. The throw's in time, and there's 2 away as Bryant heads back to the dugout. We had the dance party on Friday, and it's been all been downhill since then.
Well, and speaking of, I'm not quite sure what could have happened, but Bryant pulled up right there running to first and was kind of a little gimpy going back to the dugout. Who knows, but maybe something to watch because she was not able to run that ball out.
Now 2 outs, nobody on for the designated player, KK McCrary. First pitch. Tried to check her swing, but went too far around on the rise ball, 0-1. McCrary batting .261, 24 of 92 with 11 runs scored, 8 doubles, a homer, and 13 runs driven in. The 0-1 pitch is low, 1-1.
0 for 4 with a K in this series. Auburn, entering this game, was only hitting .184 as a team against Alabama pitching. The problem is, of their 9 hits, 3 have been home runs.
The 1-1 pitch popped up foul up over the press box. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 outs, nobody on as we play here in the top of the second inning. No score between Alabama and Auburn.
And I'm going to go ahead and say it now. We'll preview it in the bottom of the second as well. Our guest today for the 3rd inning, the national champion Cassie Riley-Boscia.
The 1-2. Fouled back, barely got a piece to stay alive. We'll do it again, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, Tom, Alumni Weekend is such a special time, but I think what I had forgotten, because I don't think we went to the dinner last year. We did last night for a bit before you had to go. But you just fall right back into patterns with all these former players, and the conversations pick right back up where you left off. It's really great.
1-2 in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, well, it is a family.
Yeah.
They come right back in and pick up right where you left off.
I mean, you would have thought.
Though some people have children, they didn't have it before. That type of stuff. But
those things have changed. I mean, you would have thought I saw Rachel Bobo Calhoun yesterday. Been like 3 years.
The 2-2. right down the middle, called strike 3. McCrary knew it, and Fouts gets a 1-2-3 inning here in the second with a couple of Ks.
When you attack with the rise, you get the batter looking up. So what does Fouts do? She sneaks in that little runner. It's almost a screwball, but it's not. Right there on the inner half, McCrary totally frozen. That's a big-time K for Fouts, who looks like she's getting back into rhythm here in the second inning.
No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left. We move to the home half of the second. Still 0-0 between Alabama and Auburn here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
An exclusive presentation of Learfield under the broadcasting rights granted by the University of Alabama. Reuse of the
10 seconds.
Without the expressed written consent of the university and Learfield. Announcers are provided by Learfield and approved by the university.
We head to the home half of the second inning. No score between Alabama and Auburn. The second inning is presented by Yellowhammer Brewing Company, brewed locally in Alabama and served to fans across the southeast. 2 up for the Tide here in the second. Dowling, Broadfoot, and Pruitt 4-5-6 against Maddie Pinta. Back out for another inning of work in the circle for Auburn. Dowling will lead things off. Batting .315 on the season, 41 of 130, 19 runs scored, 8 doubles, 7 homers, and 35 runs driven in. First pitch. Outside, ball 1.
2 for 6 this weekend with an RBI. But, Tom, we know that Bailey Dowling loves Championship Sunday against Auburn. In 2021, had that home run off of her face on the Plains to basically secure that win and the sweep.
1-0. Misses a little low, 2-0. Patrick Murphy, the head coach of the Crimson Tide in his 25th season in the third base coaching box. 2-0. Called strike 2-1. 1,227 victories, 347 losses, a .780 winning percentage for the national champion and Hall of Famer, Patrick Murphy. The 2-1. Swung on and missed, 2-2. The associate head coach is Allison Habit. She's in the first base coaching box. The pitching coach, Lance McMahon. Ryan Murray. The volunteer assistant, coordinator of player development, is Adam Arbor. Director of softball operations, Jaden Spencer. AC Atinka is the athletic trainer. 2-2. Swung on and missed. 4 strike 3. And Dowling is retired. And 4 out so far by Maddie Pinta, 3 by Kay.
And she's using the off-speed way more today. Bailey Dowling swings for strike 2 on the off-speed drop. So Pinta throws it again. Dowling trying to get on time, but it's the away movement that fooled her and got her to miss.
We'll bring up Emma Broadfoot. Right-hander hitting third baseman for the Tide. First pitch. Fouled back for strike 1. Broadfoot batting .271, 26 of 96, 16 runs scored, 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 12 runs driven in.
1 for 5 this weekend. And now we get into what is, I think, the story of the game. Without Ashley Prangy, you've got a lot of your experience in the top half of the order.
The 0-1 misses inside, 1-1.
So not only are mistakes, I think, going to decide this game, but also can somebody in 5 through 9, all these people who are either freshmen or new to the SEC, new to this rivalry, can one of them make a play to set things up for the top half.
The 1-1 pitch. And that's a chopper up the middle. It's going to be stopped by the shortstop behind the second base bag. The throw is going to be in time from Peralta, according to the first base umpire, Tom Meyer, but Broadfoot's going to stay there, and I think we are going to have an official review.
Oh, great.
And a reminder, this official review is brought to you by the Out of the Box Podcast. Check out the latest episode of the Out of the Box Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We'll have a new episode dropping next week with a lot to talk about, so be sure to give us a follow at OutofTheBox_pod on the Twitter. Are we where we can announce the guest for next week's podcast yet?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Almost. It's early in the morning.
Yes, still possible. By the end of this broadcast, we will know who will be joining us.
All right, here's our look at it. And by the way, Jenna Johnson was the one signaling, hey, earmuffs.
It's really close.
It's real close. I need to see it a little bit slower.
The throw from Peralta from behind the second base bag. I think Broadfoot might have beat it out because they're looking for the close of the glove.
Right.
So it's as close as it could possibly be. And to update everybody, yesterday they had the review mix-up in the first inning in game number 2. Is because there were multiple reviews going on at the same time from multiple games, and the umpires here in Tuscaloosa were relayed the result from a different game's result. So that's why it was a call on the field, and then it was overturned later on. And after review, they are going to uphold the original call of out.
That, to me, was a not enough indisputable evidence play. I think if that's safe on the field, probably upheld there as well.
So now 2 outs, nobody on for Larissa Pruitt. Left-handed hitting freshman. First pitch. Pulls back the bunt, but takes a called strike. Pruitt batting .236, 21 of 89 with 16 runs scored. A double, a triple, a homer, and 15 runs driven in. The 0-1, fouled back, 0-2. Finishing up the coaching staffs for the Crimson Tide, the support staff as well. Strength and conditioning coach is Michelle Diltz, Nathan Sheehan, sports information. Scott Moyer, the video director, and the equipment manager is Sue Moore. For Auburn, their head coach is Mickey Dean in his 6th season. Eugene Linty and Emily Carasoni, the assistant coaches. The 0-2 is a ground ball foul down the first base line. And Ken Brook, the volunteer assistant.
And everybody watching on as Larissa Pruitt tries to get her first hit of the weekend, 0 for 6 with an RBI. Kind of one of those players that I feel like is doing way better than her numbers. Battled Pinta well in game 2.
Another 0-2 is low and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out, nobody on as we play here in the home half of the second inning. No score between Alabama and Auburn. One-two pitch. Pruitt lifts this one to shallow right field, calling everyone off and making the catch is Tresvik for out number 3 to retire the side. So Alabama goes down in order, and here in their half of the second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left. We head to the top of the third inning, still 0-0 between the Tide and the Tigers here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. We head to the third inning, still 0-0 between Alabama and Auburn. And the third inning is presented by Bojangles. Download the new Bojangles app and bring the flavor to your next softball tailgate with chicken, biscuits, and fixings, all by ordering ahead on the convenient Bojangles app. It's Bo time, y'all. We head to that third inning. Still zeros, nothing but zeros on the board for either team. Bottom of the order due up for the Tigers here in the third. Tresvik, Packer, and McConaughey against Montana Fouts in the circle for the Tide. And here to take you through the third inning, along with a special guest, my partner, Gray Robertson.
Thank you, Tom. It's time for Gray's inning of chaos, and the chaos we're asking for is like anything to extend a third inning, because we are pleased to be joined by the national champion, the best-selling author, Cassie Riley Boscia. Welcome to the booth. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. I don't know if I'm a best-selling author. I think I'm just an author.
I think here in Tuscaloosa, for sure.
Perhaps.
Isis Tresvik will lead off this third inning. North Carolina A&T transfer. Misses. That one does Fouts on the first pitch. 1-0. Tresvik hitting .247 on the season. 21 of 85, 16 runs scored, 3 doubles, 7 homers, 17 ribbies. 1 for 5 with a double and a walk and a K this weekend. The 1-0. Low. 2-0. Happy Alumni Weekend, Cassie.
Thank you, Gray. It's been a good weekend.
How much fun is it to get to just chop it up with all the former Alabama players of recent years and decades ago?
Yeah.
First the 2-0, swing and a miss, 2-1.
You know what? It's we are so fortunate because we've had weddings, we've had mini reunions for the 25th anniversary versus the national championship anniversary. So I feel like in the last 2 or 3 years since COVID, we've had so many opportunities to come together, and it certainly is a lot of the same stories that get repeated, and definitely a ton of fun.
2-1 foul back, 2-2 on Tresvik. Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. You just fall back into old patterns with everybody. I mean, seeing Bailey Hempill yesterday, it's been a couple years since we've seen Bailey, and it was like no time had passed at all.
Yeah, that's I think what's a lot of fun is all of a sudden I'm seeing girls that I just recently watched, and I'm, yes, we're in an alumni category. Go ahead, call that one out.
Got her looking. Strike 3 for Fouts, 1 down.
So certainly I'm in the same alumni category as Bailey Hempill. However, I fangirled a little bit because I was just so in awe of her as a hitter. So it's neat to have that experience as well.
Michaela Packer will step in with 1 out. Center fielder for Auburn, who did not start in Game 1 against Fouts, hitting .338 this year. 25 of 74, 18 runs scored, 2 doubles, 2 triples, 4 ribbies. First pitch right down the heart for strike 1.
Cassie, we're coming off of Montana's homecoming trip when we went to Huntington, West Virginia. You had a fun homecoming trip when when you played in the national championship year.
That's an interesting term to use. Yeah, I'll tell you what. We win the SEC on a Sunday night, get flown into New York City, go to sleep way past a normal bedtime, wake up the next day and play Fordham. And, I look around the field, and rightfully so, Murph is trying to rest a lot of the starters. And Fordham came out like this was their World Series game. And not just kind of beat us, whooped us pretty good at our home trip, my home trip.
1-1 misses low, 2-1. The 2012 team had some really interesting
losses.
Trips.
Oh, yeah.
Home trips.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, well, not even losses, but, I mean, shoot.
Well, funny enough, what people might not know is our very first game together in the fall, we lost to Murray State.
2-1 foul back, 2-2.
And we were like, all right. And then we did not have a dominant fall. And then we got humbled quite a bit, but it's the best thing in the world to get humbled now and learn all the positive things that come with losing than when you show up for playoffs and then have to learn in playoffs.
And I think that's something interesting that we can talk about with this year's team. But first, the 2-2 to Packer from Fouts. Fouled away. Remains 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. Nobody on, no score, Auburn and Alabama. This year's team is interesting in that I think for the first time in many years, this is a team that has had to truly progress. They've had to grow each and every week, and they still haven't quite hit that peak yet. But you can make the argument that the 2012 team kind of did a little bit of the same thing, growing as the season went on.
Well, I'll tell you the one thing we had the advantage over. Oh, sorry. I thought we were going to have to pause for a strikeout call there.
Outside, full count.
So the one thing that we got to do in the 2012 year is we got to really progress off of 2011. We only had 2 people graduate from 2011 to 2012. This team is very young, and I think people forget that because Montana's in her 5th year. This is exactly what a young team is supposed to do.
Payoff is pop back foul. Remains 3-2.
They just, we had a lot of turnover from year to year, and that's going to happen with the transfer portal and just the way the NCAA softball is progressing. But the growing pains are how you progress come playoffs. You don't want to just kind of scoot along with easy teams and then not learn what you need to learn for that year.
Another 3-2. Packer swings and misses. Fouts is heating up. That's 4 strikeouts. 2 gone here in the third.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
We're going to talk about, as a hitter, how you would attack Pinta. How in the world would you attack Montana Fouts?
They're called rosary beads. You would start with that. You know what? With any really good pitcher, you try to find the one spot maybe that she's coming into the zone, and you try to focus there instead of on everything else that she's throwing. And that still might not work off of a really dominant pitcher, but so many times people get distracted by the rise ball when that's usually not a pitch that you even want to swing at in the first place. But yeah, it's and definitely short to the ball, similar to what Florida State did a couple of years ago in the World Series. They weren't taking big hacks like UCLA. Sometimes those short little hits are what's going to be what helps.
Quickly, 2 strikes on Carly McConaughey, the 9-hitter. Bases cleared, 2 outs. McConaughey hitting .324. Another player who did not start in Game 1, getting her first look at Fouts. Good luck with that. Here's the 0-2. Drop, misses inside. She didn't go. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You see a lot of comparisons, similarities between Fouts and Jackie Traina.
You know what? It's more in that grittiness, that ability to dig deep, the big moment, just never letting a moment get bigger than you. And I think the biggest thing with Jackie, if anyone was paying attention to the Alabama softball leading up to that 2012 season, we lost on walk-offs quite a bit in the 3 years before. So any type of pressure situation, it was, oh gosh, here we go again, and that stopped with Jackie. It was no longer here we go again.
2-2 from Tana. McConaughey rips that out to right. Pruitt watches it leave the yard. Carly McConaughey hits her 2nd home run of the year to give Auburn a 1-0 lead here in the top of the third on a ball that I didn't think was going to stay fair or leave the park.
That was interesting, yeah. That was a peculiar home run swing for sure.
It's not a bad pitch either.
No, sometimes, shoot, that just was you find the barrel at the right spot.
Another home run this weekend for Auburn, and the Tigers lead at 1-0 here in the top of the third, and back to the top of the order with Nelia Peralta, who grounded out in the first. First pitch from Tana, misses high for ball 1. According to the graphic, oh dear, that is McConaughey's first hit since March 27th, which is pretty much the last time I took taco and taco hot sauce.
Man.
Maybe she was trying out those rosary beads.
Well, the power of prayer. Here's the 1-0. Peralta pops it foul, 1-1.
I don't want to call a home run lucky, but it was kind of lucky.
How many home runs did she have?
That was her 2nd of the year.
Okay, yeah, so she's probably not a home run hitter, and certainly she swings like that was a line drive home run for sure. So the only luck part is that it had the height. You know, it was definitely hard hit. Yeah. But she's probably definitely a line drive hitter.
Last pitch foul back by Peralta, 1-2. Bases clear, 2 outs. 1-0 Auburn here in the top of the third. The 1-2. Peralta fouls it off on the changeup from Fouts.
That off speed has just made her such a more dominant pitcher this year. It's great to see. Even if she doesn't throw it a ton, if you're a batter and you know there's a chance at coming in at a different speed, it still messes with your plan a little bit.
1-2 from Fouts. Peralta sends that to center, and Hensley watches it drop in front of her. Didn't get a great jump, and that's a 2-out single for Nelia Peralta. 2 quick hits in a row for Auburn here in the top of the third.
And that one wasn't hit hard. It was just kind of a falling line drive to center. Alabama and Montana, they have to just minimize the damage here, stop the bleeding quickly.
Yeah, this has popped up out of nowhere as Lisenby steps in. She flew out her first time up, takes first pitch down the middle for a strike, 0-1. Because Fouts didn't look her sharpest in the first. Second inning looked better. Start to this inning. Goodness gracious, get out of the way. And then the home run and now a single. Here's the 0-1 to Lisenby. That's a jam job out to left, and that'll drop in front of Johnson. 2 on for Auburn with 2 outs and 3 straight 2-out hits here in the third.
Should have been more specific. We wanted the extended inning in the bottom of the third inning.
Right.
That's right. We can put that into the universe. I think it was, that home run wasn't a terrible pitch. It was a great job hitting. So it's not necessarily that she's making mistakes, and those next 2 swings are the luck of how our game works, right? Sometimes they just fall.
Lance McMahon out to chat with Montana and Allie Shipman. Let's talk about this rivalry, Cassie. This is a rivalry that has really, really turned on in the last decade, and it is as fierce as ever right now.
I would agree, and it's interesting because I think rivalries trickle down from football sometimes, but I think this one is just this doesn't matter if it's football, tennis, doesn't matter who you are. If you're in Alabama, you don't like orange and blue, and I'm sure Auburn doesn't like crimson and white. You know what? I have 2 stepsons at home, and I don't even fold their laundry and put a blue shirt next to an orange shirt. It has to go on the opposite side of the of the closet, and my husband thinks I'm crazy, but it means something.
It just means more, if
it
you will.
does.
Lindsey Garcia takes the first pitch, strike 0-1. Garcia flew out to left in the first.
It was funny. We were talking to Lance McMahon, and he said, "Well, I'm new here, but after yesterday, okay, I get it now."
Yeah.
It doesn't take long.
Yeah, because you know what? LSU, Florida, Georgia, those are all rivalries too. But you don't have to see many Florida fans at the grocery store, or you don't have to, but you're driving down the road and you see an Auburn, and it just I don't know, makes. I'll tell you what, I saw them playing hacky sack before the game the other day, and I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, there's just a lot of hate going on inside me still. 10 years later, still 11.
If you have hate in your heart, let it out.
Yes.
Last pitch was fouled back. Here's the 0-2 from Fouts. Garcia again fouls it straight back.
It's a great pitch.
No balls and 2 strikes. 1-0 Auburn, top 3. 3 straight hits here in this inning. 2 outs, runners on first and second. Alabama will have to answer back at some point. 0-2 to Garcia. Rise is fouled off. Into the bullpen. Remains no balls and 2 strikes. Another 0-2. Swing and a miss.
Very nice. Off speed.
Fouts strikes out the side, but in the middle of all of that, Auburn gets a solo home run and a couple singles. 2 are left stranded by the Tigers, and we go to the bottom of the third. Auburn leads Alabama 1-0. Cassie Riley-Boscia will stay with us for the bottom half of the inning when we return here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Inning is presented by Bojangles. Download the new Bojangles app and bring the flavor to your next softball tailgate with chicken, biscuits, and fixings, all by ordering ahead on the convenient Bojangles app. It's bow time, y'all. I probably should have used the Bojangles app this morning for breakfast instead of another establishment. No free ads, but let's go a little bit quicker than the food got out. As we go to the bottom of the third, Auburn leads Alabama 1-0. Tide will have 7-8-9 due up. Essman, Giles, and Hensley against Maddie Pinta, Gray Robertson, Tom Canterbury, and the national champion, Cassie Riley-Boscia. And we're going to talk a lot in this inning about hitting Maddie Pinta because now, Alabama's going to have to score today anyway to win this game, but now you've got to answer back and find a way to put up a crooked number at some point against Pinta.
Yeah, you know what? I think she's a dominant pitcher, and she certainly seems like she's made some adjustments from the night before, but that's, or from yesterday, but that's what you do as hitters as well. It looks like Alabama has been in the back of the box predominantly, which means that they're trying to lay off that high pitch. If you're up in the box, that's usually an indication you're trying to hit it. But being in the back makes me think they're trying to take it and hit more of her lower stuff.
Well, Lauren Essman starts things off here, hitting 192 this season. She swung at the first pitch 0-1. 5 of 26, a run scored, 3 RBIs. Battled Pinta well yesterday, but struck out a couple times. 0-1, and Essman jams that over to short. Peralta makes the easy catch, 1 down. So here's Marley Giles, the freshman, hitting .250, 8 of 32, 8 runs scored, a homer, 4 RBIs, 1 for 4 in the series.
She had a great hit yesterday, right down the left field line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that pinch hit in game 1, a good showcase for what we've seen from Marley. And I thought even against Pinta, worked a couple full counts and then kind of got herself out chasing pitches out of his own. Here's the first pitch from Pinta to Marley Giles. It's right down the hard upper part, 0-1.
Cassie, I know you had some really big crowds, especially in that national championship year, but what do you think when you see all the people here for this type of series?
It's incredible, and it's been every year. Just it seems like more and more people lining up early, more and more people just wanting to get a piece of watching this game, being a part of this experience. But you're right, we had some big crowds, but it was nothing compared to what we have right now today.
The last pitch outside to Giles. Here's the 1-1 from Pinta. Off speed in there for a strike, 1-2.
Actually, my freshman year, we didn't even have a brickyard. So to be able to see how the outfield has extended and, the stands has extended. And I'll tell you what, our fan base is so intelligent. Knows the other pitcher, knows the rules, knows it's just impressive to be a part of.
1-2 high, 2-2.
And then we see when we go on the road as well. We had 4,000 people in Florence, Alabama for the North Alabama game. You're seeing attendance records broken everywhere Alabama goes, and a lot of places all over the country.
2-2, misses inside, full count. And again, Marley Giles works it full against Pinta this weekend.
She's fighting. I'll tell you what, after my home trip that we just talked about where we lost to Fordham, New York is not known for softball. The Northeast is not known for softball, but to see how many people came out to watch us that day in 2012, Murph said the next day, not great for us, but good for softball.
Changeup fouled off by Giles. Remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Cassie, kind of going back to Maddie Pinta, a lot of the discussion amongst the experts, the analysts, certainly us in the booth, has been about how you attack the Maddie Pinta changeup. It's something new. It's something she's relied on a lot more this year. And after this pitch, I want to get your thoughts on how you'd approach it. First, the 3-2 to Giles, fouled back, made 3 balls and 2 strikes.
So my protocol for changeups was always you're never trying to pull it, and you're always trying to hit it opposite field. And the reason being that does a couple things. It helps you stay back just a little bit more. It helps your bat stay on plane a little bit longer. You have a tendency to so you want as much help as you can get. So the longer your bat is on plane, the more of a safety net you might have for when someone's throwing off speed like that.
Another foul ball from Giles. This is a really, really impressive at-bat from the freshman against one of the top pitchers in the SEC and the country.
You know what? Even if Giles doesn't have a successful outcome right now, she is chipping away at this pitcher for someone else to get a successful at-bat later on. She's wearing her down for sure.
9th pitch of the at-bat. Another 3-2 changeup, buckled the knees, and Giles is caught looking. Beautiful pitch from Pinta, 2 down.
Well, that's just a tip of the cap situation there. That's a heck of a pitch from Pinta.
It really
on 3-2.
was. Shoot, yeah. Sometimes too, when you have a pitcher who's throwing as hard as she is with as good of an off speed, you're not doing the big home run swing. You're trying to it's not that you're trying to make contact. You're trying to shorten your swing to again give you another safety net.
First pitch strike to Faith Hensley, who's hitting .254 this year. 16 of 63, 20 runs scored, a double, 2 homers, and 8 RBI. 1 for 2 this weekend. That one was a double off of Pinta. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Ooh, I've received some interesting information that I'll announce after this first pitch. Speaking of alumni weekend.
Curious now.
Here's the 0-2 to Hensley. Pops that one foul, out of play. Our dear friend and yesterday's Game 2 guest, Sydney Littlejohn Watkins, has said that she is doing the taco hot sauce race with husband Alex.
Oh, goodness.
That is the best news all weekend.
I need to find out who is wearing which costume.
Which one is which? Both of them have long strides.
I know.
They're both super competitive.
It's going to be fun.
Tough, yeah.
0-2. Off speed misses outside. 1-2.
I have a feeling if Alex gets out in the league, he's not going to
No.
let Sid win like the siblings yesterday.
And if Sid is in front, Alex might tackle her from behind.
You're right.
Base is clear, 2 outs, 1-0 Auburn. Here's the 1-2 to Hensley. Change up on the ground to first, and Ellis snags it and steps on the bag for out number 3. Alabama cannot respond, and Auburn goes to the 4th, leading 1-0. Cassie Riley-Boscia, thank you so much for hopping in with us here in this inning.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Cassie Riley-Boscia, thank you so much for joining us. We go to the 4th. Auburn still leading Alabama 1-0 here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. The 4th inning is presented by DCH. DCH Health Systems have been providing quality and compassionate health care in West Alabama for nearly 100 years, Tom. DCH Health Systems are champions for your health and proud supporters of the Crimson Tide. We thank, of course, our good friend Cassie Riley-Boscia for joining us in that 3rd inning. And it would have been a really good time if not for a Carly McConaughey solo home run that has given Auburn a 1-0 lead, and now the Tigers will have 4, 5, 6 due up Ellis, Bryant, and McCrary against Montana Fouts. And I mean, we knew this was going to be a dogfight of all the ways for Auburn to get on the board. Didn't think it'd be a solo home run from the 9-hole, but here we are.
Yeah, and it's just one of those pitches where we hit it at the sweet spot of the barrel at the exact right time and was able to get it out of here, but Alabama was able to minimize the damage. There was 2 hits after that, but no other runs came in, so if you're the Tide now, just try to keep the Tigers where they are and get the offense rolling.
And, Tom, you've got to lead the comeback. I turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much. No pressure. The first pitch to Bree Ellis is a little inside for ball 1. 4, 5, 6 due up for the Tigers here. Ellis, Bryant, and McCrary against Montana Fouts as Fouts and Shipman are having a quick conversation in the circle. Fouts has gone 3 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. 52 pitches and 37 strikes for the People's Queen. Gave up the 3 straight hits last inning, the solo homer and 2 singles. 1 run on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left for Auburn. Nothing but zeros for the Crimson Tide. Ellis struck out her first time up. The 1-0 is right in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Alabama in the all-white uniforms today. The white jerseys with Crimson Bama inscript across the chest. White pants with a crimson stripe and crimson socks. The 1-1 right in there for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Auburn with the gaudy orange over white uniforms. The orange jerseys with Auburn in block blue across the chest. White pants with an orange stripe and orange socks. The 1-2. Ellis takes that one high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. No midweek this week. Alabama opens up the final home series of the regular season on Friday, hosting the LSU Tigers. Friday's first pitch is set for 6. We'll be on the air at 5:50. The 2-2. Ellis fouls that one away. We'll do it again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Coming up, top of the hour, 12:55, 1 o'clock first pitch. It's Alabama baseball, looking for the sweep at Missouri. Elsewhere on the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Lots of Tigers.
The 2-2, grounded just foul down third baseline. We'll do it again, 2-2. It'll be fun next week when Alabama softball hosts LSU and baseball travels to Baton Rouge to play at LSU the same week. Yeah, it's just
I think it takes
on all the Tigers.
It's a really, really tall task for baseball. LSU baseball is on fire this year.
Another 2-2. Hits the outside corner. Called strike 3. Ellis down on strikes for the second time today. And there's one gone here in the 4th. Fouts now. 6 strikeouts on the day. And Denver Bryant now steps in. 0 for 1 with the ground out. Bryant, the junior from Albany, Georgia. First pitch. All right. Oh, my gosh. It was right there at the knees. Pretty much right over the plate. Didn't get the call. 1-0.
Maybe a hair inside. It's kind of the first eyebrow raiser of the day, though.
The 1-0. Gets a little further inside, 2-0.
Got to be careful. 2-0. Denver Bryant's aggressive.
Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Bryant with a fly ball to center field, but that's a lazy fly. The catch made by Faith Hensley, and there's 2 away. And we're going to see a pinch hitter here for KK McCrary. As coming up, grabbing a bat will be Jesse Blaine, the sophomore righty from Winsfield, Missouri. Blaine on the year, batting .220, 20 of 91 with 10 runs scored, a triple, 2 homers, 17 runs driven in.
0 for 4 with a K this weekend.
First pitch, right in there for a called strike. Great, it's time for a scoreboard update brought to you by Bama Stuff. When you're looking for the best Bama softball apparel, visit Bama Stuff. They have softball stuff and are the exclusive home to the Montana Fouts collection of t-shirts and jerseys. Visit them at BamaStuff.com or at their store location on the Strip next to Bryant-Denny Stadium. That pitch drops a little bit low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Sorry, that I don't know. I saw Pinta get a change called for a strike on exactly that same spot.
Oh, yeah.
But it's okay. I'll get to it after this pitch.
The 1-1 is right there for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Okay, what's happening in the SEC? Well, Georgia is going for the sweep. At this point, Georgia might be the only team that can catch Tennessee in the SEC standings. And right now the Bulldogs do lead South Carolina 3-0, top 5. Also, Missouri, North Texas underway, bottom 2, no score there. Underway in Lexington, 2-0 Kentucky over Arkansas, bottom 2.
The 1-2 pitch. That one's lined, but it will hook foul down the left field line. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That Kentucky-Arkansas game is of importance. Kentucky trying to salvage Game 3 there. Right now, Arkansas is 1 game ahead of both Auburn and Alabama. So, say Kentucky holds on there, then the winner of this is right back tied for 3rd in the SEC standings.
Fouts looks in. Another 1-2 to Blaine. Fouled off down the first base line this time, 1-2.
Of course, a lot going on elsewhere today. In about 30 minutes, Game 3, the rubber match, Texas A&M and Ole Miss and Oxford. LSU looking for the sweep ahead of a trip to Tuscaloosa at 2 o'clock Central against Mississippi State. And tonight on the network at 6 o'clock, Florida and Tennessee. Lady Vols trying to win the series after crushing Florida in Game 1.
Fouts looks in, and now the 1-2 on its way. Rise ball swung on and fouled away. We'll do it again, 1 ball and 2 strikes as Blaine somehow made contact with a pitch that ended up at her eyes, if not a little bit higher.
Skyscraper-esque. The only other person I've seen make contact on a pitch higher than that is the great Oklahoma Sooner Sidney Romero.
Another 1-2 on its way. Low and inside, and the count's evened up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs, nobody on. Auburn with a 1-0 lead as we play here in the top of the 4th inning.
Nationally, a lot going on today. Liberty salvage Game 3 against Central Arkansas 4-3. No score. Top 6, Northwestern and Michigan in the rubber match there.
Another 2-2 is outside, 3-2. Michigan was asking whether or not they could play with aggregate scoring after the 15-0 win in Game 1 that were denied.
And the 4-3 loss. I mean, oh, man. More rubber matches tonight. Cal at Stanford, Utah at Washington. Big night in the Pac-12 coming up as everyone chases UCLA.
And now the payoff pitch to Blaine. It's a ground ball to short. Cahalan charges, makes the stop and the throw for out number 3, and that's a 1-2-3 inning bounce back by Montana Fouts here in the 4th.
Really good job by Fouts at that point after the length of that at-bat, just letting the defense do some work behind you. And now it's up to the offense, Tom, because I don't know if you know this, Maddie Pinta is currently pitching a perfect game.
What?
I know.
I am shocked that Maddie Pinta is not allowed a base runner as of yet here in the ballgame.
Here we go.
We will discuss it on the other side as we head to the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Auburn here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. The 4th inning is presented by DCH. DCH Health Systems have been providing quality and compassionate health care in West Alabama for nearly 100 years. DCH Health Systems are champions for your health and proud supporters of the Crimson Tide. We head to the home half of the 4th inning. Auburn with a 1-0 lead over Alabama. Do it for the Tide here in the fourth. Johnson, Cahalan, and Shipman top of the order against Maddie Pinta in the circle for the Tigers. Pinta, 3 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts, 41 pitches, and 30 strikes thrown by Pinta, who is currently in the midst of a perfect game here in Tuscaloosa.
Tom, I'm looking at 3 innings and 9 batters faced. That means
Correct.
she has faced the minimum.
Right.
And 0 hits and
No.
0 walks.
None.
Okay, and there haven't been any weird double plays?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
No.
so Maddie Pinta currently throwing a perfect game.
Yes. And now the top of the order for the Crimson Tide, second time through, will try to remedy that situation.
Well, and I think it's all about adjusting to the off speed. Pinta's hard stuff has not been that good today. She typically has been kind of bouncing around the zone, but the off speed drop and the change have been really sharp. So you got to make a decision, like Cassie Riley-Boscia was saying. How do you attack that changeup? We'll see what the offense decides to do the second time through.
Jenna Johnson steps in. She struck out her first time up, and the first pitch is high for ball 1 to the senior from Franklin, Tennessee. Taking a look at Alabama softball on this date, presented by Onward Reserve. Onward Reserve is the official apparel provider of the Crimson Tide Sports Network, providing all the great gear this year. The 1-0 drops in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Jenna Johnson was trying to have time there, and home plate umpire Chris Neighbors did not give it to her. Now the 1-1. High and a little outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Visit OnwardReserve.com for all your golf and game day apparel. Live authentically with Onward Reserve. April 23rd is an interesting date. Alabama's 6-4 all time.
No.
Just not playing a lot of games on April 23rd.
Wow.
Outscoring opponents 50-37. The 2-1. Johnson lines it to left. That's down for a base hit. Johnson will look at second, but will stay at first. And Jenna breaks up the perfect game here in the 4th inning. Once again, you're welcome.
I mean, again, we are available for events.
I mean, Jenna did something, but
Right.
I mean,
Well, and she made a decision to go after, I think that was an off-speed drop that just didn't go down enough from Pinta. Really good adjustment by Jenna right there to start things off here in the 4th.
with the perfect game broken up, Kinley Cahalan steps in and she swings at her eyes after trying to stop herself. 0-1.
Shake it off. Kinley was not happy with herself right there after going after that pitch. Got fooled essentially on the same stuff her first time up. Got to remember that and make the adjustment on that pitch. Either don't swing or get the barrel up there.
Held off that time. She didn't go. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bama last played on April 23rd last year. 9-1 loss to Texas A&M.
Ooh.
Not a fun weekend.
Pass.
0 out of 10. Would not recommend.
I mean, dinner after was good. But
Sure.
At what cost?
Sad tacos are always fun, but the 1-1 in the dirt, 2-1. The Tide has posted wins over Georgia in 2006 and Tennessee in 2018 on April 23rd.
And Tom, I just want to point out the perfect game jinx. It's a lot of fun. We haven't had to use it very often this year. I think
It's
the
true.
last time was Florida State and Clearwater. But now you've got some momentum against Pinta.
The 2-1, that's line to center. That's down for a base hit. Johnson to second, and back-to-back singles for the Tide here. Second time through the order. And the Tide threatening with nobody out. And Allie Shipman stepping to the plate.
And this is where this crowd has to get involved. Patrick Murphy said he wants this place to be as loud as it's ever been. Right now is that moment. We've seen the adjustments in this inning from Jenna Johnson, from Kinley Cahalan. I need to see a replay. That pitch looked up in the zone, though, and she got the barrel up there and just worked it. Alabama is not doing home run swings here in this inning. They're just shortening up and trying to put it in play, and it's working. And now you've got the ideal scenario brewing with the batter that I think you trust the most based on what she's done this weekend, about to step in with nobody out.
And Patrick Murphy mentioned in our pregame interview how it's a back-and-forth relationship between the team and the crowd. the team has to give the crowd something to get excited and cheering for, and boy, have they here to start off this fourth inning. Again, Pence had not given up a hit or a base runner entering this inning, and back-to-back singles by the top of the order now brings up Allie Shipman. She's 0 for 1 with a ground out, but a big RBI opportunity for one of the most dangerous players in this batting order, with Ashley Prangy not available.
First pitch is critical here.
Here comes the first pitch. That's a fly ball to right. Tresvik charged in to begin with, will back up and make the catch. Johnson goes back and tags from second, and she'll be on third. So the fly ball does move the runner to third base, putting the tying run 60 feet away. And there's one gone.
Well, and we always say, right, if you're going to get out, make it productive. Good base running by Jenna Johnson, reading Tresvik, who took a bad first step, and because of that, there would have been no chance to get Jenna at third. And now, if not Allie Shipman, Bailey Dowling, that is the person who was the hero last year in Game 3 against Auburn with a 3-run homer.
0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout. First pitch. A called strike.
Cahalan just stole second.
Oh, and Kaylin, okay. I was looking down at
It was
Patrick
a delayed steal. Auburn didn't see it. I don't blame you.
I was looking down. I thought Patrick Murphy was about to get into Chris Neighbors' face. Instead, Kinley Kaylin makes the steal. The 0-1 outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And really interesting the way that the Auburn infield and outfield are playing this. Look at where Packer is in center, about mid-depth. Garcia a little deeper over and left, but the infield is really in.
Dowling, I mean, she can lay down a bunt, but I would not expect that to be the play here. The 1-1, high and outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. The crowd to their feet here at the Rhoads house.
Same, partner.
The 2-1 pitch. Dowling with a ground ball to short, and it's eaten up by the shortstop. The throw is going to be in time to get Dowling at first, but coming in to score is Jenna Johnson, and we're tied up at 1. That's another Bama RBI presented by Tuscaloosa Ford. We'd like to thank Tuscaloosa Ford for providing transportation for the Crimson Tide Sports Network to all of the season's away games. Visit Tuscaloosa Ford for your next vehicle purchase. Roll Tide with Tuscaloosa Ford.
And you would have thought, based on the reaction, that Bailey Dowling had hit a 3-run homer. Both hands up, knowing she did her job. A productive out that ties this game. Big time.
Now Emma Broadfoot at the plate with a runner on third and 2 out. First pitch is outside for ball 1. Broadfoot's 0 for 1. She grounded out her first time up.
And think about this moment for Emma Broadfoot. A North Alabama transfer, but Tom, she grew up an Alabama fan. She's a Gump through and through. We saw her during the Alabama-Auburn basketball game this year. There's nobody who wants to come through more in this moment than Emma.
1-0 is a called strike, 1-1. With Annville, Alabama native. We've been to her house, all Alabama stuff everywhere.
Oh, my.
1-1, swung on and missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Broadfoot trying to get back on time, but Pinta cranked that up about 2 miles per hour. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's enough to make Broadfoot late on that swing and miss. And now, after cooking at 70-71, got to watch for the changeup here.
1-2 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. Broadfoot's down on strikes. And that'll do it for the Tide here in the 4th, but Alabama ties things up here in the bottom of the 4th inning as they get 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors and 1 runner left on base. We played 4. It's 1-1 between Alabama and Auburn here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. move to the top of the 5th inning, tied up at 1 between Alabama and Auburn. The 5th inning is presented by Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. Shop on the largest selections of pre-owned vehicles at Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa, a proud supporter of Alabama softball. And we just had a very competitive taco hot sauce race, as you mentioned, but Alex beat Sid. Hot sauce over taco.
And Sid says our marriage is in trouble in the post-race interview. Knowing Sid.
Competitive.
Well, and you know what? I don't think it would have hurt as much if Alex hadn't pretended to pull a hammy but still win. Just mean.
Yes.
Oh, well. And you know what? As a picker of taco for the first time since we played Mercer, I'm even more upset. But that being said, alumni should be running every time on Alumni Weekend. We don't need strange siblings. We need former softball players against either other former softball players or their significant others.
I'm down for that. Isis Tresvik will lead it off 7-8-9 against Montana Fouts. Tied up at 1 as we head to the 5th. The first pitch swung on and missed for strike 1. Tresvik struck out her first time up. Fouts on the day, 6 strikeouts and the 1 run, and that was the 9-hole hitter Carly McCondishy's solo homer in the 3rd inning. And she'll be batting 3rd this inning. The 0-1, a little bit high. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. Tresvik fouls this one away. Onto the clubhouse down the left field line. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2 is low, 2-2. The 2-2 pitch, fouled back. Do it again, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2. Low and away, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Scoreboard update, Tom. Top 3. Kentucky now leads Arkansas 3-0. Missouri, North Texas still scoreless, bottom 3, and Georgia still leading South Carolina 3-0, bottom 5.
Fouts looks in, and the payoff pitch to Tresvik. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Got her in 1 low and inside. 7 strikeouts on the day for Fouts, and there's 1 gone here in the 5th.
And I think if you're Auburn, right now you're looking at the way you're attacking Fouts and kind of shaking your head a little bit, because it's similar in my eyes to what Auburn did or Alabama did yesterday against Penta. They're working counts and then chasing at balls out of his own. Good movement by Fouts coming back inside to fool Tresvik. Really nice job.
That brings up Michaela Packer. The first pitch, she squares around a bunt, pulls it back, and it's low. 1 ball, no strikes. Packer's 0 for 1. She struck out her first time up.
And Montana with those 7 Ks has already matched her total from the first meeting with the Tigers.
The 1-0. Packer with a fly ball to shallow right field, foul ground. Now trying to range over and make the catch is Dowling, but she can't come up with it. Foul ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. Fouled off at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And a lot of credit to Tana because, again, we talked about that drop yesterday. She tried it. It just wasn't really working. But today, not only is it working, it's been pretty much her primary pitch to get ahead of these Auburn hitters.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got over the rise. There's 2 gone.
So you get ahead with the drop, and then you come back with the rise. What do you do? I mean, that pitch is so well tunneled. We talk so much about what tunneling means. That's when it's coming towards you, and you don't know until the last second whether it's going to be a rise or a drop. And Fouts is doing it as well as I've seen in a long time here today.
That brings up Carly McCondishi. First pitch. Called strike 0-1. McCondishi, the solo homer, her first time up. Senior from Birmingham. Gardendale High School.
Ah, yes.
The 0-1 in the dirt, 1-1.
We beat them in basketball a couple times back in my old 8th grade days. I'm sure the listeners are really curious.
By we, who do you mean?
I mean Mountain Brook High School.
Oh, okay.
Or junior high, excuse me. But that last home run by McCondishi was low and inside. Watch Fouts keep this away, you would think, here in this at-bat.
1-1 is high and outside, 2-1. The 2-1 pitch, foul back. Counts even up, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on here in the top of the 5th. Mounted up at 1 here, the rubber match of the Iron Bowl of softball. Alabama and Auburn. And just a monstrous game as far as SEC, national standings, everything. The 2-2. Fouled away, we'll do it again, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And both these teams entering today's game with identical overall and conference records. Bama's strength of schedule is better and a few more quality wins for the Tide. Have them ranked higher in the RPI. 2-2. High and away, and the count's full, 3-2.
Yeah, the unofficial metric, and the new RPI will be out tomorrow. That'll probably be pretty close to the unofficial metric that I often look at. Has Alabama SOS at 3 now. Auburn just outside the top 20. Alabama down at 12.
Payoff pitch. Ground ball back to Fouts. She has it. The underhand throw will get McCondishi, and that'll do it for the Tigers here in the top of the 5th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left. We stretch here in Tuscaloosa, knotted up at 1 between the Tide and the Tigers here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Tied up at 1, Alabama and Auburn, game 3 of this series. Go into the bottom of the 5th. If you expected anything else here today, you were fooling yourself. What a ball game this has been, and the 5th inning is presented by Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. Shop one of the largest selections of pre-owned vehicles at Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa, a proud supporter of Alabama softball. Due up for the Tide at 6, 7, 8, Pruitt, Essman, and Giles against Maddie Penta, who had to work a little bit more in the bottom of the 4th than she had in the first 3 innings. Alabama made the adjustment. We jinxed and broke up the perfect game, and now we get into true crunch time here in this rivalry matchup. As Tom mentioned, so much on the line in the SEC standings, in the national metrics as it pertains to the NCAA tournament. This is a series that both teams want, and you could argue both teams need. Larissa Pruitt flew out to right in the 2nd. grew up an Alabama fan, Hartselle, Alabama native. She's been dreaming of playing in this rivalry her whole life. First pitch, and that one goes low. Pruitt showed bunt but pulled it back 1-0. And, you know, Tom, I just mentioned it. We referenced Broadfoot growing up an Alabama fan. Larissa Pruitt, again, Alabama native, grew up dreaming of playing for this team and probably dreaming of moments where she would be facing the Auburn Tigers late in the game. The 1-0 is hit toward short and caught by Peralta, who did that probably in the toughest way possible, but the catch is made, one down.
Yeah, that's one thing, especially, you know, a lot of these, the freshmen, Marley Giles, a lot of these players for Alabama grew up Alabama fans, and so these are the type of games that you come to Alabama to play in. Now Lauren Essman steps in. First pitch in there for a strike, 0-1. But even players like Lauren Essman didn't grow up necessarily an Alabama fan, but ended up here, and I think after one day, they understand why this rivalry is what it is.
It doesn't take much.
The 0-1, low and away, 1-1.
And again, you know, we have been with this team during a lot of big-time Alabama-Auburn moments. Remember, I think it was the Sanford game, right, where we all ran into the clubhouse to watch the end of Alabama-Auburn basketball. Everybody knows what this means.
A little outside, 2-1.
And I need to see, it looks like Essman is going split grip here, which is something I was talking to Kaylee Tao about last night. Nope, she's brought it back together.
The 2-1 is fouled off down the first base line, 2-2.
We were talking about that UCLA game, the perfect game, of course, in 2021, and Tao was saying, you know, one of the things that made them so effective against Rachel Garcia was that they went split grip, they shortened up, they didn't try and do too much, and they knew what they were sitting. She was sitting change on that epic 3-run homer on a changeup that we predicted. It's all about adjustments the second time around against Penta. Top half did well. What can the bottom half do?
The 2-2. Essman fouls it away. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Penta now at 65 pitches as we play in the bottom of the 5th inning. And is this the first time this season that she's pitched in back-to-back days, at least started back-to-back days?
Correct.
The 2-2. That one's line. That's going to get way down to all the way to the wall. No, it's cut off before it gets to the wall, but that's going to be a double in the gap for Lauren Essman. And the Crimson Tide now has the go-ahead run in scoring position with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th.
I think Penta made a mistake. Yeah, it's lower part of the zone, but it's right over the white. Essman does a great job getting the barrel down. Again, not trying to do too much. Alabama's not trying to hit home run swings here. They're just trying to put it in play. And Essman, who has shown so much potential in the box, finally is able to put a hit together and give Alabama a chance in the 5th.
And Marley Giles steps in. She struck out her first time up after a really good at-bat. And the first pitch to her is popped up. Foul ground, first base side, making the catch. But now tagging up is Essman. She will take third ahead of the tag from Denver Bryant. Nice catch by McConaughey, but she made the catch with her back to the diamond. And Essman heads up, tagged up from second and moved to third, but now 2 out.
Who says pitchers don't have speed, Tom? What you talking about? Lauren Essman read that perfectly, and McConaughey hesitated a second, didn't know Essman was tagging up, had to be told by a teammate, and that second of hesitation allowed Essman to score. Or excuse me, to reach third, not score, we hope.
First pitch to Faith Hensley, swung on and missed for strike 1. Hensley grounded out her first time up. Native of Monroe, Ohio, the transfer from Ball State, trying to get some production here at the bottom of the order. The 0-1, same pitch, same swing, same result, 0-2.
Not the best start to this at-bat. Now you've got options if you're Auburn. Do you crank it, velocity high and away, or do you throw that pitch again but make it a ball?
The 0-2 is low and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2. Outside again, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hensley battling back in this at-bat after going down 0-2. 1-1 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. And Alabama has the go-ahead run at third base.
You just have to put it in play. See what you can do.
The 2-2. Swung on and missed. 4 strike 3. Hensley's down on strikes, and that'll do it for the Tide. Here in the home half of the 5th, got a runner to third, but couldn't get her home.
Yeah, and that changeup from Penta, Hensley just couldn't adjust to it, but we're seeing a lot better at bats. That last strikeout excluded the second time around, and next time they face Penta, it'll be the top of the order once again.
No runs on a hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We played 5, still 1-1 between Alabama and Auburn here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. To the 6th inning, tied up between Alabama and Auburn at 1. Everything evened up. 1 run on 3 hits, no errors, 2 left for Auburn. 1 run on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left for Alabama. Before we bring the 6th inning to you, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
You're back.
The 6th inning is presented by Bobble with Bama. Crimson Tide fans, you can now Bobble with Bama as officially licensed limited edition Alabama softball player bobbleheads are available this spring. You can be the first 450 to receive a bobblehead at a giveaway event. Purchase in venue at the novelty stand during any game, as that one's in there for a called strike on Nelia Peralta, or order online while they last at foco.com. The final giveaway for the Faith Hensley bobblehead is coming up next Saturday. Top of the order due up for the Tigers here. The 0-1 pitch to Peralta is a little high, 1-1. Peralta 1 for 2 with a ground out in the 1st and a single in the 6th.
Yeah, and I mentioned Alabama will have a top half in the 6th. Well, so too do the Tigers. Like you said, Tom, pretty much everything even across the board.
1-1, and that's going to be a soft liner that's going to fall for a base hit into center field. And Peralta now a 2 for 3 day with a couple of singles. That ball was picked up and thrown in by the new Alabama center fielder, Kristen White. She's coming in to replace Faith Hensley in center.
Not much to it at all. Peralta just puts a ball in play that has eyes, and Dowling wasn't even that far off from it, but just didn't have the angle to attack.
Now Kennedy Cooper will come in to run on first base for Nelia Peralta, the somewhat unusual leadoff hitter for the Tigers, who gets pinch run for on a regular basis.
Well,
Peralta.
Mickey Dean goes with the "you have our best OBP, you're leading off" strategy that we've seen Patrick Murphy use in the past.
First pitch to Aubrey Lisenby. It's high for ball one. Lisenby 1 for 2 with a fly out and a single.
And this is where Auburn not having a big small ball factor kind of hurts them. I would bunt here and try and move Kennedy and see what you can do, but not a big part of their game.
That one's popped up, foul ground. It will get out of play. Into the grandstands, just to our right. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Lisenby does not have a sack bunt this year. Auburn entered this weekend 9th in that category in the SEC.
The 1-1. She does square around to bunt and puts it down. Broadfoot is there and will throw to first to get the out, and the sacrifice bunt is executed by Auburn. Cooper to second on the sack, and there's one away.
Well, there you go. Auburn was just trying to lull Alabama to sleep by swinging away a couple times and then laying it down, but that's the right play. Now you set up an opportunity for your big boppers right in the middle to drive in Cooper.
Lindsey Garcia will step in. She's over 2 with a fly out and a strikeout. Elsewhere on the network, bottom of the first inning now, Alabama baseball, no score between the Tide and Missouri in Como. First pitch to Garcia. Fouled away for strike 1. Garcia is senior from Coral Springs, Florida.
Sounds familiar. I think we have some FGCLers from Coral Springs. Probably half of FGCU's roster from Coral Springs.
The 0-1 pitch. Rise ball, fouled away. No balls and 2 strikes. Take a moment to send our thoughts and love to little 6-year-old Madeline. We were talking with Allison Habits, family friend of Allison and the Habits family. The 0-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. Garcia's down on strikes, and there's 2 away. Little Madeline is battling kidney cancer, and everyone's thoughts and prayers are with her.
And we've got some Team Madeline wristbands on. Allie was giving them to us earlier. She said they're the wrong color, but
right,
it's for Madeline and for kidney cancer, and certainly sending our thoughts to that family.
Here comes Lance McMahon. Make sure everyone's on the same page here with Bree Ellis stepping to the plate. Runner on second, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning.
And this is a pure strategy session. You've gotten Ellis twice on strikeouts, and Fouts, I think, more than maybe any other batter, has mixed speeds with Ellis here today. So I think the discussion is what has felt good, what has looked good when you faced her already in this game, knowing that any kind of base hit, we're going to see Eugene Linty send Cooper from second and try and give Auburn the lead. Now Lance McMahon talking to the whole defense. So this is a all-encompassing strategy session.
And yes, first base is open, but
no,
Denver Bryan is in the on-deck circle, and she has been as hot as anybody at the plate for the Tigers this weekend. So you got to do everything you can to get Bree Ellis here. Sophomore from Houston, Texas, stepping in. Bree Ellis, runner on second, 2 outs. First pitch, popped foul for strike 1.
I think Ellis just missed a mistake right there from Fouts. That looked like a low rise, but it didn't have a ton of jump. Ellis just swung a little bit under it. And that was over the white.
The 0-1. Fouled off at the plate. No balls and 2 strikes, and Ellis comes up rubbing her right hip flexor.
I love the low rise in on Ellis right there from Fouts, trying to jam her. Probably going to stay on the inner half. Don't want to throw anything on the outside that could let Cooper score if it's hit.
The 0-2 is a liner that will be, one hopped into Kristen White's glove in center field, and coming in to score is Cooper, and that's an RBI single for Bree Ellis, and Auburn takes the 2-1 lead here in the top of the 6th as Kristen White gave it everything she could, laid out. One hopped into the glove, and Auburn takes the lead.
A foot short. Just a good piece of hitting. That was low and away. If you're going to go away, it's got to be a ball. That was a ball, but Ellis somehow not only got a piece of it, but squared it up. Don't know how she did that.
And coming in now to run for the Tigers will be Skylar Elkins. With Denver Bryant coming to the plate.
I think that pitch was supposed to be a little bit more outside, but it was low enough to where that should have worked.
Now Denver Bryant will step in. She's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out. First pitch. A little bit inside for ball 1. The 1-0. Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. Bryant lines this to left, and that's going to be up against the wall. Rounding third now is Elkins, and Cahalan bobbles the relay. And that's going to be an RBI double for Bryant, and Auburn leads at 3-1.
Just the worst case scenario for Alabama here. Again, low, but a little too much White. Relay's there.
Would have had a chance of a play at the plate, but Cahalan couldn't find the handle. And here, third time through the order. The Tigers now with 3 hits in the inning, 2 runs in, and they have the 3-1 lead. First pitch to Jesse Blaine is high and outside for ball 1. Blaine came in as the replacement designated player for KK McCrary in the 4th, grounded out 0 for 1.
Auburn with 6 hits on the day. They have all come in 2 separate innings. 3 hits in the 3rd, 3 hits here in the 6th, and 2 of them have come with 2 outs. It was not a bad pitch to Bree Ellis, but a good piece of hitting. A little bit too sweet to Denver Bryant. And you see it right there. All 3 runs Auburn has scored today have come with 2 outs.
Rose Roach coming in to run for Bryant on second. The 1-0 pitch to Blaine is popped up. Dowling, shielding her eyes from the sun, is able to make the catch for out number 3 to retire the side. But Auburn here in the top of the 6th inning takes the lead as they get 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We move to the home half of the 6th. 3-1 Auburn here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. sixth inning is presented by Bobble at Bama. Crimson Tide fans, you can now Bobble at Bama as officially licensed limited edition Alabama softball player bobbleheads are available this spring. You can be one of the first 450 to receive a bobblehead at a giveaway event. Purchase in venue at the novelty stand during any game or order online while they last at foco.com. The final giveaway for the Faith Hensley bobblehead is coming up on next Saturday. We head to the home half of the sixth inning. Alabama looking to respond after Auburn took the 3-1 lead in the top of the sixth, and the Tide, just like Auburn did in the top of the sixth, has the top of the order here in the bottom. Johnson, Cahalan, and Shipman against Maddie Penta in the circle for the Tigers. Penta giving up 3 hits in the 5 innings, 1 run it was earned, no walks, and 6 strikeouts, and will throw her 73rd pitch of the ball game to start things off here in the sixth. She'll do that to Jenna Johnson, who's 1 for 2 on the day, singled and scored in the 4th, struck out in the 1st inning.
You just have to find a way, pass the bat. These are the right people. This is the right time. But it's got to start off strong with Johnson. Got to be a good at-bat. Even if it's an out, it cannot be something quick to allow Penta to get into a rhythm in this inning.
First pitch to Jenna Johnson. Misses outside for ball 1. One change out in the field for Auburn is Abby Smith. She is now your new left fielder, replacing Garcia. The 1-0 did not go around on the check swing. 2 balls and no strikes.
We forgot to do it, so I'll go ahead and announce it now. We do have a guest set for the Out of the Box podcast this week for the first time since week 2. Our friend Amanda Scarborough from ESPN will be joining us. She was on the call for all 3 of Texas-Oklahoma State's epic battles.
The 2-0. Johnson fouls that one away. Count moves to 2-1.
Also, we've got a scoreboard update. Top 1, Texas A&M has opened up a 5-0 lead on Ole Miss after a Rylan Wiggins grand slam.
The 2-1. Johnson takes it high. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Got to think 3-1. Penta's going to go back to the change. Either sit it.
3-1 is a called strike, and the count is full 3-2.
Nope. She went upstairs with the velocity.
Payoff pitch. Johnson lines this to center, and that's going to fall for a base hit. A diving attempt by Packer comes up empty, and that's a leadoff single for Jenna Johnson, her 2nd hit of the game. And Alabama has the leadoff man on here in the 6th.
A 3-2 mistake from Penta. That's right down the middle and right in the upper part of the zone that Jenna Johnson loves. And I don't think hit it very well. Had she, it probably leaves the yard. But because it was a miss hit, it was a little bit shallower, and Packer, despite a great effort, couldn't make the catch. Here we go.
Kinley Cahalan steps in. She's also 1 for 2 on the day. Singled in the 4th, struck out in the 1st. First pitch, and that one's line. That's down for a base hit. Opposite way in the left field, and back-to-back singles by the Tide. Put runners on 1st and 2nd with nobody out here in the 6th.
They ain't quitting. Heck no. And now comes Mickey Dean to chat with Penta. We didn't talk about it earlier. Maybe worth mentioning now. Auburn turned in their lineup today very late. And we saw when Maddie Penta was warming up, Mickey Dean had a very, very watchful eye on her. Does that mean anything? I don't know. I could be reading too much into it. But it's a different pattern from what we saw yesterday, and we talked about it. Maddie Penta has not started 2 conference games back-to-back yet this year. There is some action in the Auburn bullpen.
Yeah, Shelby Lowe is warming up in the Auburn bullpen. The meeting is broken up. Maddie Pinta is still in the ball game with Allie Shipman stepping in. Shipman 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out. Alabama trying to answer back after Auburn scored 2 in the top of the 6th to take the 3-1 lead. First pitch to Allie. High and away, ball 1.
Good first pitch take. Pinta fell behind against Johnson. Cahalan took advantage of another mistake on the first pitch. Ship, knowing she's been aggressive, probably thought Pinta would throw something outside and wisely laid off.
1-0. On the outside corner, they throw back behind Johnson, but she's back safely at second, 1-1.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
Yeah, almost in the other batter's box. The 1-1. Shipman with a fly ball to deep center field, but now ranging over and making the catch in the gap is the right fielder Tresvik. Tagging up from second and heading to third is Johnson. And now the Tide has runners on the corners with 1 away as Allie Shipman just missed giving the Tide a lead there as Tresvik made the catch right up against the wall.
Just needed a little bit more on that one. Maybe some wind help. That would have been nice. But now we go back to the story of Bailey Dowling against Auburn. Game 3, 2021. Struck out her first 2 times against Maddie Pinta. Third time up, 3-run homer. Already an RBI ground out today, but pretty much the same scenario she was in that 4th inning.
Yeah, over 2 with that RBI. First pitch. Called strike, 0-1.
And we're going to see Auburn be a little bit more careful defensively because remember when Dowling was last up, Cahalan secretly stole second. Nobody saw it.
Including me. The 0-1. Dowling again takes a called strike, 0-2. The 0-2, Dowling fouls that one off. Stays alive at 0-2. Another 0-2 pitch. Dowling swings and misses at strike 3. And there's 2 away.
Took 2 pitches in the zone. Fouls off a changeup. Pinta goes right back to it. It's out. It's a ball, but Dowling chases.
Now Emma Broadfoot steps in. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. First pitch fouled straight back for strike 1. Broadfoot's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout.
Well, she had a chance in the 4th. We said she'd get another. Here it is.
The 0-1, low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Ooh, have to be careful. That was close to the same spot as that strike call on Ship.
The 1-1. Broadfoot swings and misses. Cahalan takes off and steals second. They cut it off to make sure Johnson didn't try to steal home. So that's going to be Kinley Cahalan's second stolen base of the day.
And the catcher, Lisenby, is arguing that Broadfoot's swing got in the way of her throw down, but they weren't trying to catch Cahalan. It was cut off, so. What?
Looks like Auburn is going to actually ask for an official review on that. So it would be obstruction interference, maybe?
Right. Unfortunately, there are no letters.
No.
I mean, this is Auburn thinking maybe they can just get a cheap send Cahalan back to first, because Kinley's like, what the heck? I mean, y'all weren't even trying to get me.
No.
There might be an argument, though.
I mean, is that an automatic out?
God, I hope not.
I'm not 100% sure on the rule on batter interference there on the throwdown. Again, just hopefully we are getting the communication from the right game.
Weird that we have to request that, but here we are.
Here we are. Which was really the first strike against this system of having Birmingham handle everything.
In pretty much 2 years.
Was the confusion yesterday. And it is an automatic out. Emma Broadfoot called out for batter interference on the throw down to second. And Patrick Murphy trying to get a clarification on that. But Auburn gets the cheap out to end the threat here in the 6th inning for the Tide. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, 2 runners left on base. We head to the 7th, 3-1 Auburn here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Head to the top of the 7th inning. Auburn with a 3-1 lead over Alabama. The 7th inning is presented by the Alabama Game Day Live app. Keep up with everything Alabama with the Alabama Crimson Tide Game Day Live mobile app presented by Cadence Bank. Download it now for free at the App Store and Google Play. 7-8-9 due up for the Tigers as we head to the top of the 7th inning. Alabama threatened to respond in the bottom of the 6th after Auburn scored 2 in the top of the 6th, but Emma Broadfoot called out on batter interference after a review on a stolen base by Kinley Cahalan to end that 6th inning. And now Isis Tresvik will lead things off in the 7th, 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks, and the first pitch is low for ball 1 for Montana Fouts. And if you're Alabama, just have to find a way to keep the Tigers where they are here in the 7th and hope the bottom of the order can come through offensively in the bottom. 1-0 is in the dirt, 2-0.
Well, and I'm trying to get clarification because we were just alerted that it is apparently a judgment call on interference. So I'm curious how the judgment was that Emma Broadfoot kept Auburn from catching Kinley Cahalan stealing when the throw was cut off anyway.
The 2-0 is in there for a strike, 2-1. It's just Auburn getting another break, which is what happens. No matter if you play them in Tuscaloosa, you play them at Auburn, you play them on the Moon. That's what they do. The 2-1 is a fly ball to shallow center, and that's going to be down for a base hit in front of Kristen White. That one, another one, not a really well-hit ball, but it just fell. And that's a leadoff single for the Tigers here in the 7th.
Center fielder number 10, Michaela Packer.
We'll bring up Michaela Packer, who's over 2 with a couple of strikeouts. She squares around to bunt. The first pitch from Fouts is a called strike. That's now 0-1. Auburn 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors, 3 left. Alabama 1 run on 5 hits, no errors, and 4 runners left on base. The 0-1. That one's bunted up the middle. Broadfoot has it in the circle, has to quickly make the throw, and it's in time to get Packer. Tresvant moves to second on the sacrifice, and there's one gone.
Well, a slippery play by Packer. Fouts vacated the circle to give room to Broadfoot, but the bunt had enough power that for a second that looked a little gnarly. Good job by Emma making the quick transition to get the speedy Packer out at first.
That brings up Carly McConaughey. First pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 1. McConaughey is 1 for 2, had the solo homer in the 3rd and a ground out in the 5th. Runner on second, 1 out. 3-1 Auburn as we play here in the top of the 7th. The 0-1. Bunted foul. No balls and 2 strikes.
Scoreboard update. Final in Athens. Georgia does sweep South Carolina 3-0. Final there. Missouri up 5-0 on North Texas, bottom 5.
The 0-2. High and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So L's for us and South Carolina, Georgia picks. Still trying to get a little bit of clarification on the ruling there in the interference.
The 1-2. Outside, 2-2. Really, the only clarification is it's Auburn, and that's what happens when you play them. Unfortunately. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. McConaughey's down on strikes, and there's 2 away.
Well, Fouts bounces back 10 Ks in this game. Back in a double-digit strikeout camp for the first time in what feels like a while, and has done such a good job moving it all around the zone today, but now has to get past the top of the order one more time.
And they're going to intentionally walk Amelia Peralta with Aubrey Garcia on deck.
Yeah, and with Lisenby, we talked about it earlier. We were surprised that she was in the 2 spot today after going 0 for. She does have a hit in this game, but considering Peralta is, I believe, 6 for 9 in this series, this is absolutely the right move with first base open.
And Lisenby 1 for 2 on the day, a sacrifice, a single, and a fly out. The 4th pitch is there for the intentional walk. So Fouts' first walk of the day is an intentional one. Putting now runners on first and second for Lisenby. As a tide just looks to keep Auburn where they are. Give the offense the opportunity in the bottom of the 7th. Squaring around the bunt, pulls it back. It's a called strike, and now runners tried to steal. They threw down to 3rd, and Broadfoot chose not to try to get in a rundown and just chased the runner back to 2nd. So an 0-1 count now on Lisenby. No one fouled back, 0-2. Go-to pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Lisby's down on strikes. 11 Ks for Fouts. And that'll do it for the Tigers here in the top of the 7th inning. No runs on a hit, no errors. 2 runners left on base. We head to the bottom of the 7th. The last chance for Alabama is 3-1 Auburn here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. The home half of the 7th inning. Auburn with a 3-1 lead over Alabama. The 7th inning is presented by the Alabama Game Day Live app. Keep up with everything Alabama, the Alabama Crimson Tide Game Day Live mobile app presented by Cadence Bank. Download it now for free at the App Store and Google Play. 6, 7, 8 due up for the Tide here in the home half of the 7th. Pruitt, Essman, and Giles against Matty Pinta in the circle for the Crimson Tide. And Alabama has had base runners in each of the last 3 innings, scored a run in the 4th, and now we'll look to do more than that here in the 7th as they need 2 to keep the game going.
Yeah, and you're trying to conjure up as much Rhoads magic as you can here. The bottom of the order has, outside of Essman, been pretty quiet against Pinta. You just got to find a way. Put the ball in play. That's all we're asking, honestly. I mean, if you're going to get out, at least make Auburn have to work to get that out. Put the ball in play, put the ball on the ground, see what you can do and see what havoc you can cause.
So Larissa Pruitt will start things off. 0 for 2 with a fly out and a pop out. First pitch. Puts a nice bunt down, but it bops up foul at the plate. No balls and 1 strike.
Who and Larissa Pruitt got down the line real quick. I mean, that was right at Lisenby, and I think Pruitt probably would have beaten it out.
The 0-1. Pruitt pops it up on the infield. Second baseman McConaughey's there to make the catch for out number 1. We'll bring up Lauren Essman. 1 for 2, popped out in the 3rd and had the double in the gap in the 5th. First pitch is fouled back for strike 1.
Scoreboard update from Lexington. They're in the top of the 7th. Kentucky leads Arkansas 3-1. How about the performance from Kennedy Sullivan? That is hashtag who's pitching today. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run.
The 0-1, Essman fouls it back. No balls and 2 strikes. The 0-2. Hessman holds off on one in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Top of the 4th in Como. No score between Alabama and Missouri. Bama baseball. And looking for the sweep against the Tigers. The 1-2. Hessman takes it in the dirt outside, 2-2. The 2-2 pitch. Hessman fouls that rise ball away. Stays alive at 2-2. Another 2-2, another foul ball. Hessman continues to battle here. 7 pitch at bat so far. Another 2-2. Hessman takes it low, and the count's now full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And this will be the 100th pitch for Matty Penta. Went change up there. Good take by Hessman. Had some nasty down movement.
Payoff pitch. Hessman takes it inside for ball 4. And Alabama will bring the tying run to the plate here with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. And Marley Giles stepping in.
Love it. World-class at bat from Lauren Hessman. Not letting the moment get too big. There are a lot of pitches in that AB that she could have chased, but she didn't, and she's given Alabama a chance.
Giles 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a foul out.
You're begging for a mistake here from Penta.
First pitch, low and inside, ball 1.
And also, you're in a scenario where if Giles can reach, you'll give a top of the order a chance, perhaps, barring a double play, which, goodness, knock on wood, if I can.
The 1-0. There's a strike, 1-1.
We talked about all these in-state kids who've dreamed of this moment. Marley Giles, certainly one of those.
The 1-1. Changeup drops in for a strike, 1-2.
It's the right pitch from Penta, though. You go upstairs with a high strike at 70. You come back with a change at 55. And now there are so many options here ahead in the count, 1-2.
1-2 pitch. Giles takes it high. 2-2. The 2-2. Giles pops it up, foul ground. It will get out of play. Oh, heck of a catch by a Bama fan in the crowd. Do it again, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I swear that might be Gina Snyder's doppelganger. I know Gina Snyder is not here. Shout out to our FGCL friend. Also, it's gone final. Kentucky has defeated Arkansas 3-1.
2-2. Giles, takes a called strike 3. On the outside corner. And Alabama is down to their final out.
Goes back to the changeup. and it also kind of backdoors in a little bit. God, it looks like a ball the whole way. I do think it gets back over the wide of the last minute, but that's just a brutal pitch.
That pitch zigged and zagged.
Wow.
I don't know how that happened.
I mean, that is, when you're as experienced as Matty Pinson, you're facing a freshman in the bottom of the 7th, that is a wicked pitch to whip out. Whether you're facing any hitter, that's a tough pitch to hit.
And Patrick Murphy going to go to the scorecard and bring up Callie Hevlin. Kristen White was on deck. She'd replaced Faith Hensley in the field. But now you want to go with somebody with a little bit more pop than White does, and that's Callie Hevlin. Runner on first now, 2 outs. First pitch inside, ball 1.
And Hevlin did such a good job right until the end against Pinta yesterday. Worked it 3-1 and then was late on 2 up in the zone, 70-plus pitches, got the strikeout, but will need to do the same here. Work a favorable count to try and keep this game going.
1-0. Hevlin fouls that one off. 1 ball and 1 strike. Batting .225 entering the game. 23 of 102 with 21 runs scored, 14 runs driven in, a triple and 5 homers.
And was still late on that foul, but already more on time than the 2 swings we saw in game 2.
Esman on first. The 1-1. Fouled off again. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Alabama down to their final strike here. Two from Pinta. Hevlin with a blooper to shallow center, and that's going to fall as Packer tried to make a diving catch on it, and it ticked off her glove. Hevlin's on with a single, and now Jenna Johnson will step to the plate as the potential winning run with 2 outs.
Up in the zone and jammed, but Packer is playing really deep on Hevlin. Tried to run in and make a great catch, but overran it. It hit the back of her glove and bounced away.
It hit the back of her glove and her visor, if not her face, and now she's actually asking for the athletic trainer to come out and see her. Because, yeah, she made that diving attempt, and the ball hit off the back of her glove and got her maybe in the left eye. That's what the athletic trainer is looking at right now for Auburn.
And you've got so much speed on base. Callie Hevlin, low-key stolen base threat, green light girl, Callie Hevlin.
Sure.
So if you get something down the line from Johnson, you've got a chance here, improbably, against one of the best pitchers in the SEC. You've had so many opportunities in this game.
Continue to look at Packer. Now, Mickey Dean's going to go out and see what the situation is. 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors, 5 left for Auburn. 1 run on 6 hits now, no errors, and 4 left for Alabama. And Jenna Johnson will step in, 2 for 3 on the day with a couple of singles and a run scored.
And talk about a moment for Jenna. You know, again, no Ashley Prangy. That was a story against Pinta yesterday. It has been today. This would be Ashley Prangy. It's not. It's Jenna. And Jenna has been tasked with filling that leadoff spot in Prangy's absence. Today she's done an admirable job. Can she do it one more time?
They are now going to bring out eye drops contact solution.
Oh, I have the same brand. I wonder if maybe the ball like ricocheted and caused her contact to roll in the back of the eye, which let me tell you, there is nothing worse that can happen at a random time than when your contact rolls back into the eye and you can't find it. Not to get too graphic, but going fishing in the eyelids are not fun.
No, not what you want to have to do here. Now it looks like Packer is going to be okay to go. So again, setting the scene, there are 2 outs. The tying run is on first base. The winning run is at the plate for the Tide here. They're down 3-1. Lauren Essman reached on a walk. Callie Hevlin reached on a bloop single.
And you got to play the game a little bit if you're Jenna. Penta has thrown a lot of first pitch balls here in this inning.
Here comes the first pitch to Johnson. Called strike on the outside corner, 0-1.
So naturally, she starts out with essentially just a fastball on the outer half. Good pitch. I mean, if you're Penta, you are probably going to stay away from Johnson. You've come inside a couple times, and she's gotten hits both times.
The 0-1. High and away, 1-1. And the wind, which has been blowing pretty much in the entire game, now blowing left to right, out to right field. The 1-1. Johnson swings and misses at the change. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Got to make that adjustment. Because if I'm Maddie Penta, I'm throwing the exact same pitch right now.
The 1-2. Johnson fouls it off. Barely got a piece to stay alive. We'll do it again. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One-two is a one-hopper back to Penta. She has it. Will throw to first to get the out. And in the game, your final score, Auburn 3, Alabama 1. The Crimson Tide got the potential winning run to the plate in the bottom of the 7th, but can't get anybody across. And that will do it for the Tide here in the 7th inning. No runs on a hit, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. With the win, Auburn improves to 35-13, 11-7 in the conference. Alabama falls to 34-15, 10-8 in SEC play. 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors, 5 left for Auburn. A run on 6 hits, no errors, and 6 left for Alabama. Maddie Penta wins the battle between Fouts and Penta. Penta now 21-5 on the year. Fouts falls to 18-8. Take a timeout, come back with the Yellowhammer Brewing Company post-game report after this here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Johnson lines it to left. That's down for a base hit. Johnson will look at second, but will stay at first. And Jenna breaks up the perfect game here in the fourth inning. Once again, you're welcome. A 2-2. That one's line. That's going to get way down to all the way the wall. No, it's cut off before it gets to the wall, but that's going to be a double in the gap for Lauren Essman. And the Crimson Tide now has the go-ahead run in scoring position with one out here in the bottom of the fifth.
The Crimson Tide had the go-ahead run a few times here in the ball game on base, but couldn't ever get her in. Your final score: Auburn 3, Alabama 1, as the Tigers take this 3-game series in Tuscaloosa 2-1. And the Tigers take a 1-game lead now over the Crimson Tide and have the tiebreaker in the SEC standings. Tom Canterbury alongside Gray Robertson here, the Yellowhammer Brewing Company post-game report, and definitely a disappointment here today in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, it really stinks. You know, a great crowd, great atmosphere. Auburn was just better in the biggest moments. You know, we talked about there were going to be a couple little things here and there that were going to decide this game when you've got two pitchers that are as good as they are. It turns out the difference was Bree Ellis just throwing the bat out on an 0-2 drop away and somehow hitting it square, and somehow square enough to where it falls just shy of Kristen White. The offense gave themselves so many chances today against Pinta, who was, I think, pitching better than she was yesterday. But, again, the situational hitting, 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, just can't happen. And you had so many opportunities, especially with Shipman and Dowling up in those moments as well, where you missed a break here, you swung at the wrong pitch there, and it stings because for a moment there in the bottom of the seventh, the thought crossed my mind that everything that we have seen this team struggle with this year was about to come to a head and be turned around. Yeah. And just unfortunately, Alabama couldn't come through. I think the loss of Ashley Prangy the last 2 games played an even bigger factor than we imagined. There were a lot of opportunities for the leadoff hitter to drive in runs against Maddie Pinta in the last 2 games, and unfortunately she wasn't available. But tip of the cap to Auburn. When you've got 2 teams of this caliber, you're going to expect a hard-fought series, and that's what we got. Just really, really stinks to come out on the losing end.
Reminder to protect your team by getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Tide fans ages 12 and older are eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine in Alabama. For more information, visit alcovidvaccine.gov. Here are the final stats from today's ball game. We'll start with the Tigers. They're now 35-14, 11-7 in SEC play. They got 1 run in the third and 2 runs in their sixth for their 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors, and 5 runners left on base. Nelia Peralta was 2 for 3 with a walk. Kennedy Cooper scored a run as a pinch runner. Aubrey Lisenby was 1 for 3. Lindsey Garcia was 0 for 3. Bree Ellis was 1 for 3 with an RBI. Skylar Elkins, as a pinch runner, scored a run. Denver Bryant was 1 for 3 with an RBI. KK McCrary was 0 for 1. Jesse Blaine was 0 for 2. Isis Tresvik was 1 for 3. Michaela Packer 0 for 2. And Carly McCondishi was 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Maddie Pinta in the circle gets the victory. She's now 21-5. 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. 114 pitches and 78 strikes thrown by Pinta. For Alabama, they're now 34-15 overall, 10-8 in SEC play. Got 1 run in the 4th inning. 1 run on 6 hits, no errors, and 6 runners left on base. Jenna Johnson was 2 for 4 with a run scored. Kinley Cahalan was 2 for 3. Allie Shipman was 0 for 3. Bailey Dowling 0 for 3 with an RBI. Emma Broadfoot was 0 for 3. Larissa Pruitt was 0 for 3. Lauren Essman was 1 for 2 with a walk. Marley Giles was 0 for 3. Faith Hensley 0 for 2. And Callie Heflin was 1 for 1. Montana Fouts in the circle takes the loss. She's now 18-8. 7 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs that were all earned, 1 walk, and 11 strikeouts, 123 pitches, and 83 strikes thrown by Fouts. Time of the game, 2 hours and 22 minutes, 3,940 plus. We're here to see it here at the Rhoads House, and Auburn gets the 3-1 victory over Alabama. And like I said, this does give Auburn the 1-game lead in the standings in the SEC, gives them the tiebreaker as well over the Crimson Tide, both teams with 6 games left to play in conference play as the battle for the at least be a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament continues to roll on. So it's a tough loss because we talked about one of the biggest games, if not the biggest, in the regular season for both these teams, and it goes Auburn's way.
Right, and now you've got a scenario where if LSU sweeps Mississippi State tonight, they will be in that T5 spot with you. So, my goodness, just the importance continues to mount going forward. And you look at Auburn, they've got a road trip to South Carolina and Mississippi State at home. So, they've got an easier path than Alabama does, I can tell you that. And, of course, you certainly hope that Arkansas maybe drops a game here and there. The Hogs still have Tennessee on the schedule. That'll be, I believe, in Fayetteville, yes, and then they go to Como. So not super easy, but this was a great opportunity that was just missed. And I think, honestly, you look back at the week that was for Alabama, that's kind of the theme. The loss to Liberty, but 2 losses to Auburn. It doesn't really hurt you. Maybe a bump down in the seeding. Top 8, probably unlikely. Not dead. Say you sweep LSU, right back in it. But you just miss some chances. You miss chances at key wins. You miss chances at further building and progressing what you've been doing all year. And it stinks, man. I mean, I got to tell you, I think this team is so close. So close. They've just got to do it once. And once they do it once in that big-time moment, it's going to come. But we're running out of time.
I was going to say, unfortunately, you're running out of time. You only have 6 more regular season games left, the SEC tournament, and then before you know it, we'll be in regionals. And we don't know the status of Ashley Prangy moving forward. As we talked with Patrick Murphy, he did not have an update for Prangy. I'm sure they're going to have further evaluations on Monday on her foot, but hopefully she'll be able to come back because Alabama, like you said, offensively really missed her here in these last couple of games against Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing your RBI leader, your home run leader, one of your leaders, period. And, again, as we talked about, there were so many opportunities where she would have been up in big moments and just wasn't available. It's an unfortunate wrinkle in the story of this season because it felt like game 1 against Auburn, Alabama was finally getting there, and then you lose Prangy. And we certainly hope that it's not long. Obviously, we're not going to take any guesses, but I mean, I think the hope and belief is that we will certainly see Ashley Prangy again soon, but time will tell there.
Gray's Final Thought is brought to you by Nukes at Nukes Express Cafe. Your food is always made to order in an open kitchen with the freshest ingredients. Visit them locally on University Boulevard or order online at nukes.com. Nukes is a proud supporter of Alabama softball. Gray, your final thought before we wrap things up.
Can a sigh be a final thought?
Yes.
It's just a tough day. But a lot of credit to the crowd for showing up all 3 games, considering 2 of them changed times, multiple times, in fact, for one of them. And I hate it that you couldn't get the win today. Auburn's a good team, and I'm interested to see how the bracketology shifts for them in particular once the time comes. If they're not a host, good Lord, you don't want to be the team that sees Maddie Pinta coming to your regional. But this Alabama team, I think, is at the perfect time to not have a midweek. We don't have anything until LSU this weekend. There's a lot of time to reconfigure things, to practice, to go back to work, and to just reset because – the loss today makes next weekend somehow even more important than this weekend was.
Yeah.
And it's going to be super critical for the Tide to be 1,000% mentally focused ahead of that LSU series next weekend. And we will keep you updated if we hear anything on the status of Ashley Prangy. Last thing, if you've got tickets next weekend, be here. Be here, be here, be here. Be disappointed. That's okay. We are too. So are they. But be here. Make this place as tough as it was today for the LSU Tigers. Keep on supporting.
That's going to do it for this broadcast of the Bama Softball Postgame Report, brought to you by Yellowhammer Brewing Company, brewed locally in Alabama and served to fans across the Southeast. Yellowhammer Brewing Company. The Vice President and General Manager of the Crimson Tide Sports Network is Jim Carabin. Our studio engineer has been Austin Wolkin. Our booth cam producer has been Ethan Carabin. For Gray Robertson and everyone here at the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I'm Tom Canterbury saying thank you for joining us as Alabama drops this 3-1 decision to Auburn. Tune into the Crimson Tide Sports Network again Friday as Alabama opens their final home series of the regular season, hosting LSU. First pitch is set for 6. We'll be on the air at 5:50. Until then, Roll Tide from Tuscaloosa.